Hello, my YouTube fans and chess fans alike. I saved some games. I was playing chess.com, live games, and I saved about 20 games, most of which I won, but I don't want you to think that I'm such a great player because I think I got lucky in some of these. This one I want to show you is an example of, I think Kasparov once said, the loser of the game is usually the one who made the last worst blunder. So my opponent made the last worst blunder in this one, but I assure you I made one or two of myself that I caught. I can't believe I won this game, but I just thought you might enjoy this, just to show you that playing chess is enjoyable. You don't have to be a grandmaster. Excuse me. So let's get into this. The computer calls it the two bishops opening, or I should say the c24 bishops opening. And it seems like it started out fairly normal. This is a little bit... I would encourage the better players out there who are watching this to comment, tell me how funny this is, because I think there's something wrong with the way this was played. But my opponent, and it's doing that double thing again. I gotta stop it from doing that double move. Let's see if I can... Okay, there we go. I think I did okay by moving the pawn up. I like doing that because what it does is it stops the attack where the knight comes down and forks. You know, and then you have this fork going on here, and without the pawn in the way, that sort of thing. So one way to stop that is to move that pawn there, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes the opponent is a better player, and there's a way to counteract that. But it didn't appear that my opponent knew how to do that, so I just went ahead and traded. He takes, I take, he takes, I take, and that's the end of our knights and bishops, right? But in reality, I still have two bishops, and he has one. So he lost a bishop on that deal. So that's a mistake. A blunder. Okay. So he attacks my queen, which is seemingly a normal thing to do. But instead of moving my queen, I decided to pin the bishop. Pin his knight. I keep saying his. With a name like Teaspoon, I'm not sure. It might be a little kid here. But in any case, I'm just going to quickly go through some of these moves. As you can see, let me go back for a second. As you can see, I decided to go ahead and give him one of my bishops to take one of his knights. So it leaves me with the opposite squared colored bishop. Okay. Castle, castle. Alright, so now it starts to get a little hairy. As you can see, that the computer program is telling you that this would have been a good move to do. I do end up doing that sooner or later. But notice that I moved my rook there, sort of X-ray vision through my own piece there. So the strain is that if he were to take, obviously it would be a mistake. Even if he took with the knight, it would be a mistake. I've got too many pieces on it. Okay, so he puts another piece on it. It would be a mistake for me to move the pawn up as well. At least I think it would. Okay, so instead of doing this, instead of taking a2, I decided to prophylactically stop him from doing this by moving my pawn up. And he decides to take the pawn. Now that's a mistake. Now he can't move that bishop until he moves that queen. Okay? So I decided to move it for him. And he takes. My opponent seems to not understand that pinning yourself against the queen is just not a good thing to do. Alright, so I finally do take that pawn. Here's where it starts to get really hairy. So he finally unpins himself, herself, and the next move is check. Now that's all fine. But this move that I made is a blunder. But I got away with it because my opponent did not catch it. So here's the thing. When I'm playing whatever color I'm playing, especially if I'm playing white, and my opponent decides to do something like I just did here, that's a blunder. When I see something like that, I don't know why I did it as black, but when I see something like that, if I'm playing white, I immediately move my rook. Threaten the queen. So why did I do that? Let me flip the board. Okay? I'm looking at it from his side now, her side, or whoever side, my opponent's side. And I can see that by doing this, I should have moved the rook there. But my opponent didn't do that. Okay? So that was my blunder. But my opponent's blunder was even worse. Maybe not moving the rook there is not a good thing to do. But at the very least, my opponent should have gotten rid of this bishop. As you can see, I've got a major attack here. Now, my opponent has the knight there, so that's one protection. But to move that knight out of the way, without at least taking the attacking one of the attacking pieces, is a horrible, horrible blunder. But that's exactly what they did. Why take the pawn? What are you doing? You know, if they took the knight, I mean, if they took my bishop, I would have been okay, but I would have been somewhat a lot less, you know, position. But taking the pawn, leaving my bishop there, and removing the protection. So in other words, by doing this, not removing the knight is basically like giving me two pieces, because my opponent gracefully removed the defender for me. And it's doing that again. My opponent gracefully removed the defender for me and let me keep my bishop. So of course I did this. Now my opponent's in trouble. And there it is. There's no other move. My opponent has to take back with the queen. My opponent has nowhere else to move. Can't go here. Can't go here, obviously. Can't go anywhere. He has to take back with the queen. And that's the end of the queen. Was I worried about the rook? No. Was I worried about this bishop? It's my turn. See, this is the third blunder. Now, at least take this bishop now. Again, my opponent made 3 blunders in a row. I am not worried about that. I'm just going to move the king up. And now my opponent has to do something to protect that rook. And a 4th blunder comes. See, just one blunder after another. I take the pawn. And now, mind you, I'm not even playing that well. I mean, I made a blunder myself by moving that queen, taking that pawn. I shouldn't have won this game. And now he had no choice except to block the rook, allowing me to take the rook. And that was the end. My opponent resigned. So let's go back and see what would have happened if I made my first blunder, if my opponent instead went ahead and moved the rook there. Now I'm in trouble. Now I have to move this queen. Where am I going to move it? I can go here, perhaps. I can go way back here, perhaps. But no matter what I do, my opponent has a move where he or she can move the knight here and having the rook no, actually no. It's well, it's the attacking this pawn, but my king is not in the right place. But nevertheless, my opponent has an attack by moving the rook there. So let me just go ahead and I'm sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of commentary on this game, but I'm not good at it. I'm no King's Crusher. But nevertheless, there is. I made this blunder and took that pawn, and my opponent did not see it, and instead made one blunder after another, and that's really the only reason why I won this game. I mean, what could I do here? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Rook b1. The computer would suggest to take the rook, so I would lose the exchange. That's what the computer suggests to do. Okay. If I took the rook, they would take back, and I would have some play. But as you can see, there's a mate threat in the making. This is a mate threat. What am I going to do here? What can I possibly do here? I can move the pawn. That's about it. So, well, there you have it. In other words, maybe I could salvage this game, but the point is that if my opponent had moved that rook there when I blundered my queen, my opponent would have won instead of me. So, just sort of a lesson in about blunders. It happens to all of us, but if you make one blunder after another, you're going to lose. And it's just amazing that I won this game because I blundered pretty badly. So, any case, keep on playing. I hope you enjoyed this game. I have more on the list. I saved about 20 games. I'll show you that list now. Here it is here. That game is twice. The next one I want to show you, I think, is probably this one. But I'll get into that next time. I don't want to make this video too long. I'll make a video for that game next. Or I'll make another one of these games a video next. Keep on playing. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching.